Hey everyone, we are currently in the process of building out our About Us playlist on our YouTube channel, and I wanted to come on here and explain why we have connected the numbers 724 to our ministry name and how that affects you when you connect yourself to our ministry. Let's get right into it. So, number one, what does the number 724 represent? Well, they actually represent a promise that God gave us back when we were first starting this ministry. And it was such a big deal that we decided to attach it to our name and make it one of the core things this ministry operates from. So the number 724 is actually a Hebrew word that it's aruka, and it means healing and restoration. So the Lord gave us this word a long time ago, years ago, and as you begin to study into it, it is only found in the Bible 6 places. And every one of those places are super significant because the word is not attached. When I talk about healing and restoration, I'm not talking about a small thing. I'm not talking about a scrape on your knee that you put a band-aid over and it gets better. I'm talking about huge examples of healing and restoration. I'm talking about the people of Israel being completely desolate lands being brought back and restored to their rightful position. Actually, let me read you a message really quick where one of these 6 places can be found. That is 2nd Chronicles chapter 24 and verse 13. It says, "The men in charge of the renovation worked hard and made steady progress. They restored the temple of God according to its original design and strengthened it." They restored it to its original design and strengthened it. It's talking about the temple of God, the most sacred place for the Hebrew people at this time. And every time in all 6 places that it's found, it has this same connotation of being connected to the restoration of God's people, the restoration of God's temple, the rebuilding of Israel's land and walls to protect them and keep them in right standing with God, really. That it was brought back to its original design and strengthened. And so our name, Bethel 724, actually goes back to 2 things in the Bible. Bethel actually means house of God. 724 means healing and restoration. So I'm actually about to explain what that means for you when you connect with this ministry. We believe that there's 2 plays on this name. House of God, healing and restoration, Bethel 724. It is in the house of God that healing and restoration take place for your life. And as a ministry assigned to be a house where, if you've watched our last video, the introduction, the very first one in the playlist, it will say this, that we are meant to be a place where the weary find rest, healing, and restoration. We are just one of the houses that God is establishing in today's time to be a place where people can come and the brokenness of your life can be healed. Your spirit can be built back up. Your mind can be brought to a place of sound mind. One of the biggest things in this world right now is mental illness. Well, your mental health can be restored, your spiritual health, your emotional health, your family health, your heart. One of the things we've talked about in my husband's testimony is that, you know, he went through the trauma of abandonment as a child. And so having to heal from that in the house of God, the place where God can heal and make it back to its original place. See, everybody has a purpose and a plan for their life, and some have strayed so far they don't even know how to find their way back to that. This ministry has been meant to be only one of the examples and the places where that can happen. So when you attach yourself to Bethel 724, you're attaching yourself to that promise. When you connect with our community, whether that's in person or our online tribe, you are connecting yourself to the promise of healing and restoration. So, back to the word. Why did we connect the numbers 724 to our ministry? Because number one, they have a promise that is so important to us that we wanted to make it one of our most important things and even attach it to our name so that every time we say we're a part of the ministry Bethel 724, we're declaring healing and restoration through that name. And finally, I'm actually going to provide in the description below the 6 places it's found, and you can go look it up for yourself if you want to and read the context around these passages of just what God is promising to do for his people when they are in line with this word, when they're in line with the healing and restoration word. The massive size of what God plans to do for you. And so I'm going to connect that down in the description box below so you can see the 6 places where it's talked about and read it for yourself, just what that means. I hope this has helped you understand the point of this ministry, the point of this channel, and why we want so much to connect with you and for you to connect with us too.